Ugh. Ugh. P.U. What a disgusting, nasty, vomit-inducing goal scored by Cole Perfetti. My gosh, why can't the Vancouver Canucks have any guys that do things like that? Cole Perfetti, once dubbed, I believe it was the Wizard in the OHL, not only because he was a fantastic player with the puck on his stick, with his deeks and his skills and his dangles, but also because of the fact that he was one of the smartest high school kids in Canada during his draft-eligible campaign. I think he won like the Scholastic Award or something like that for having the highest percentage average in high school, something crazy like that. Cole Perfetti is a smart dude, not just in terms of his on-ice skills and what he can do on the ice and his creativity and the way he reads the game, but just in life and studies and book smart wise. He is very, very smart. But ultimately, that Cole Perfetti goal may have just been it for the Vancouver Canucks, as they lose in a reasonably hard-battled 3-1 loss against the Winnipeg Jets. And this was one of these games where the result isn't all too surprising. Hey, the Vancouver Canucks lost 3-1 to the best team in the NHL this year, or one of the best teams at least. But you look at the chances, you look at the quality of the opportunities, you look at the momentum, and you understand that Vancouver really did just let this game get away from them. They had a 1-0 lead. They had momentum in the first. They killed off a 5-on-3. And after that segment in the first period, never mind the penalties themselves, we can just ignore the penalties for now, but like, talking about the Canucks killing off a 5-on-3 against Winnipeg, I was like, you know, that's really interesting. That could be a moment in this game. That could be a turning point, quote unquote, in a tie game against the best team in the league. You don't want to come to any conclusions off of one power play, but Vancouver killed off a 5-on-3 against the Winnipeg Jets, one of the best power plays in the league. And at that point of the game, I was like, you know, Vancouver, they're making things interesting here. And ultimately, things got a lot more interesting when the game was 1-0, because the first goal of the game was scored by Pius Suter. Towards the end of the first, too. Beautiful pass by Tyler Myers to cross the blue line. Barely onside, by the way. After the coach's challenge, it is deemed onside. But Pius Suter comes in alone on Hellebuyck, does a really nice quick shift to the backhand, then goes forehand. Beautiful goal there for Pius to extend his #1 center streak with point production and prosperity. But ultimately, that 1-0 lead is all Vancouver is able to muster in this game. Because as the second period comes along, Vancouver hangs on. They have their chances to keep it up and make sure that they're able to hold on to it. Thatcher Demko is forced to make a bunch of saves, but Winnipeg does get themselves a goal scored by Kyle Connor, and it's a very unexpected goal because he's just kind of skating along. He takes a quick shot and it beats Thatcher Demko. Demko was not expecting it. Went under the glove there. 1-1 hockey game, and then in the third period, this is where Winnipeg just let things go for themselves. Zone time and opportunities, and Vancouver maybe had some chances once in a while too. I think the Tyler Myers wrist shot was a really big one, and then you also had Pius Suter with another chance in tight, but ultimately Winnipeg just started to put the pressure on, and they get themselves the go-ahead goal scored by Mason Appleton right out in front. The puck gets tossed into the front of the crease there, and Thatcher Demko makes a save on the initial redirection by Adam Lowry, but he's kind of down and out as the rebound pops off to the side, where Mason Appleton is right there to bury the puck into the open cage. Just an unfortunate bounce for the Vancouver Canucks and Thatcher Demko, who was very good in this game. Thatcher did make some pretty solid stops, especially on the 5-on-3 earlier on in the hockey game. But he can't stop Mason Appleton when he's by himself in front. And then, just 6 minutes later, making it 3-1, it is Cole Perfetti scoring probably the nastiest goal that has been scored against a Vancouver Canucks goaltender this year. Perfetti comes down the wing, and he teases the puck on his far forehand side. It's him one-on-one on Derek Forbort, and he kind of lets Forbort's stick get into it. He sees that Forbort is being aggressive, trying to poke it away, and so Perfetti does a really nice little dipsy-do, how'd you do, right through the legs, nutmeg there, sidesteps around Derek Forbort, who's trying to angle him off, and then Perfetti comes in on Demko. He roofs it up high. That's the kind of shot that he absolutely torqued the stick on to the max. If that puck went over the goal, it would have been into the netting. That was a wrister up high. Beautiful, beautiful goal and individual performance there by Cole Perfetti, who's on his knees sliding into the boards in a really hard, cold celly. What a beautiful goal. And I think for this situation with Winnipeg, Cole Perfetti is a guy who's reputation amongst the Jets fan base, I've been seeing a lot of folks, oh, we got to trade Perfetti. He's not really all that great, and we don't really get the best out of him, and his spot in the lineup isn't really all too important. We can just replace him, get some value for the younger, high elite player like Perfetti is. And Perfetti had some growing pains as a Winnipeg Jets prospect earlier on in his development, but this season he's been coming into his own. He's on pace for 50 points. He had scored a beautiful goal. He still has the hands, he still has the skill, he still has the hockey brain, and he's only 23 years old, so there of course is so much potential for Cole Perfetti to become a star in the National Hockey League, and it's plays like that that are really going to set him apart from everybody else. I saw that go in and I was like, man, Vancouver has nobody that can do that. Like, Pius Suter, okay, great, scores a nice goal. Backhand, forehand in front of the goalie. He's not dipsy-doodling around people. Höglander can try to do that, but he's not playing right now. Pettersson can try to do that, but we know he's not going to try that. Like, you know, that confidence doesn't exist in him to do that anymore. Bo Horvat wasn't afraid to dipsy-do around guys. He could do it quite often, honestly. Remember the series against the St. Louis Blues 5 years ago? JT Miller would never try to do something like that. He's not good enough to do that. To nutmeg somebody on the rush, dangle it through, and then come in on goal and wrist it up high? He could never do that. The Vancouver Canucks, aside from classic Elias Pettersson when he was on top of the world, don't have anybody in their organization that can do that. And all those things, they just came into my mind in a split second after I saw Cole Perfetti score that goal. I was like, yeah, Vancouver doesn't have anybody that can do that. And that's not even like their main guy. That's not their top dog. That's Cole Perfetti. He's a middle six player in this Winnipeg team. That's not Kyle Connor. That's not Mark Scheifele. That's not Gabe Vilardi, who's injured pretty much for the rest of the year. That's not Nick Ehlers. That's one of their middle pieces. And that's a gosh darn move that you can't replicate for the Vancouver Canucks. And you know, I thought ultimately this game was a good game in terms of what Vancouver was able to show, but at the end of the day, is Winnipeg. They beat Winnipeg once, couldn't really do it again. Tough go, and now the Vancouver Canucks playoff odds are down there at 9%. So, Cole Perfetti and his dagger of a goal, the beauty that was that goal against Derek Forbort and Thatcher Demko, maybe that was the dagger. Who really knows? So, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Vancouver and Winnipeg game. What are your conclusions as to how the contest went? I ultimately do think the Canucks didn't play as good as they could have, but they were fine. They were hanging in there. They were treading water against Winnipeg. You want to see more opportunities. You want to see them bury a few on Connor Hellebuyck. I think maybe the best chance that they got was like Quinn Hughes coming in and just trying to wrist one, beating Hellebuyck one-on-one on the left side with the goalie pulled. But like, honestly, Quinn Hughes has been starting to look a lot more human these past few games. Maybe it's the fatigue, maybe it's the long season, and maybe it's him being overworked. But honest to goodness, Quinn Hughes has been looking a lot more, dare I say, normal lately. Does anybody else notice that either? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.